Now back to our current coverage of the Women's African Cup of Nations. Mimi's joining us on the line. Mimi, are you there? Oh, just one moment. I think we're connecting to her now.
Hi. Yes, hello, Kesha.
Mimi, there you are. So can we just dive right in? Tell us a little bit about the ambience on Saturday at the opening ceremony.
Actually, it was a pretty impressive atmosphere, a spectacular display where we got a taste of Cameroonian culture and African dances, and taking us through a little bit of a taste of the history of Cameroon. In attendance was the president of Cameroon, Paul Biya. So security was incredibly tight in the atmosphere. And of course, you also had African football legends like Samuel Eto'o, who was there, and Roger Miller. So it was very impressive. The stadium is a 40,000 capacity stadium, and it was pretty much almost filled up.
Now, it was a pretty good start for Cameroon. They won their first game against Egypt. What was the game like overall, and what do you see in terms of them making it to the semi-finals?
In terms of their performance against Egypt, they dominated the match against Egypt. Of course, as we all know, there's Gaël Anganamuri, one of the big stars in Cameroon, who was there. And of course, a lot of people were talking about her just arrived a couple of days before the opening match. She hadn't had enough time to train with the team. And some people thought she looked a little bit tired, but I thought her performance was still a pretty decent performance, technically very apt, and her passing was on point. But another big star was Aboudi Ogene, who actually put Cameroon ahead, and she was another remarkable player that stood out in that match against Egypt. And then, of course, the captain, Mani Christine, scored, putting them a second goal against Egypt from the penalty spot. So overall, Cameroon looked impressive. They dominated that match. They do stand a chance, but of course, it's early days. They face South Africa tomorrow, which is going to be a very tough match for them.
Now let's talk a little bit about Group B, which has Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, and the Malian team in it. Can you tell us a bit more about that and what we might be able to expect?
Well, of course, in that group, we have the defending champions, Nigeria, who are the most successful team in Africa, women's team in Africa, winning 7 out of the 10 editions of this Women's Africa Cup of Nations. Akisado Showola was the star that stood out with 4 goals out of the 6 that Nigeria had, and of course assisting one of those goals. Nigeria pretty early on were dominating as well that match, and they were emerging really the force to be reckoned with. They are, in my opinion, the team to beat in this tournament. Of course, they face Ghana. On paper, they're the clash of titans on Wednesday. Ghana, of course, won their match as well against Kenya. It wasn't an outstanding performance, not very strong defensively, but on paper, they're the clash of the titans between Nigeria and Ghana. But based on the performance, I think it will probably go to Nigeria.
Okay, a prediction there. Now, you were at a press conference earlier today. Have you got any breaking news from that for us?
Yes, I attended the press conference for South Africa, for Cameroon as well. As I mentioned earlier, Cameroon are taking on South Africa tomorrow here in Yaounde, in the capital. It's going to be a very tough match. South Africa dominated their match against Zimbabwe after breaking the deadlock. So both of them really were just talking tough. The Cameroonian side was saying they're like the lions, they're ready in the jungle to go forward and win. And of course, the same tough speaking was as well coming from South Africa, who said it's going to be war. Even their coach Desiree Ellis said it's going to be war against Cameroon tomorrow. They drew, of course, it was a goalless match for South Africa, so they really do need that win against Cameroon tomorrow.
Thank you so much for the update, Mimi. I'm sure we'll be speaking to you throughout the weeks. Thank you.
Thank you.